Hey guys, I wanted to make a video today and talk to you all about one of the biggest, if not the biggest problem in World of Warcraft right now, and that is the accessibility of being able to play on alts and, in general, the barriers to entry that the game creates in regards to wanting to play on an alt. And the reason I'm making this video is because, number one, I'm not streaming today, so I have time, and number two, also, I've gone through a lot of the information about patch 9.2, and I've gone through all of the stuff about the systems, the content, etc. And I see Blizzard making the same mistake that they've made repeatedly now ever since Mists of Pandaria, is a lot of these systems that you will be progressing in patch 9.2 will not be fully account-wide. They will have pseudo-account-wide features that make them easier to do on alts, but I don't know about you guys, I don't want to do them at all, more than once. I think that doing these systems once is totally fine, and I think that doing them twice or 3-4 times, that's whenever things become a lot less fun. So I wanted to talk to you all about how I think this problem's manifested over the years and what Blizzard can do to solve it. So I think the problem initially began was in Mists of Pandaria, because Mists of Pandaria was where the divergence occurred between, in Cataclysm you could play any character you want, you just get the gear for it and you play the character. It's really just that fucking easy. And for Mists of Pandaria and also WoD, this was true for PvP as well. But obviously in Legion onward that became a little bit less true. Anyway, so in Mists of Pandaria, this is for PvE, you were able to get your legendary cloak. And I don't know about you guys, but as soon as I got my legendary cloak on my warrior, it made me a lot less incentivized and a lot less wanting to play on other characters, because I've invested all of this time, I have this massive power advantage on my main character, and I don't want to go and repeat farm the same resources and the same items in order to get this advantage on my alt characters. And I know what some people are going to say. They're going to say, so you just want everything to be for free for your alts? Yes. That's right. That's exactly what I'm asking for. That is exactly what I want. I want to be able to play my alt character and not have to progress any secondary max level systems at all outside of actually getting the gear and doing the content that I'm playing the game and playing that alt to do. I do not want to farm tower knowledge on a second character. I do not want to farm renown on a second character. I didn't want to farm Azerite power on a second character. I didn't want to do any of these things, and I don't think that I'm alone either. I think that more and more you see people that they see all these systems, and this is something Blizzard, as I said, Blizzard did in Mists of Pandaria with the cloak. They did after that in WoD with the ring, which was even more powerful comparatively because it gave your group a bonus. And then in Legion, that's whenever things really got insane. And then you have like 3 or 4, like you have your artifact weapon, you have your legendaries, you have your, it was artifact knowledge at that time that at the beginning was not account wide, and you had a bunch of other things too, I just can't think of them right off the top of my head, that were these player specific systems or character specific systems that in a way disincentivized you from being able to play an alt, because if you went to play an alt, you didn't have to do that. You didn't have these advantages, and you had to go farm them again on that alt character. And I'll be honest with you guys, I don't think most people find that fun. I think that a lot of these systems are effectively just busy work, and I think that they do a good job at pacing players through content at the beginning of patches, and I think that's okay. But I think a system like, I think especially Torghast Tower Knowledge, I think this is going to be one that I'll kind of use as like a, like a main use case for this problem, is that Torghast Tower Knowledge is actually, in my opinion, very decent system. It is. It really is a very decent system whenever you progress through it for your first time. It has a catch-up mechanism, so if you don't get your tower knowledge from last week, you can just get it this week instead. So there's no real FOMO that you feel or pressure that you feel to log on every single week and do it. You can just catch up again another time. And also it gives you different bonuses that make playing your character more fun in Torghast, and just in general, it makes the experience a little bit more enjoyable, makes you feel more powerful, and it's a good thing overall. I like tower knowledge. I think that it makes the Torghast experience better. It doesn't make it good necessarily yet, but it does certainly make it better. But the thing is that whenever I finish doing tower knowledge on my main character, the idea of doing it on a second character is very daunting for me. And it's not because it's not going to be quickly, it's not going to be done quickly. I don't care if it's done in 2 hours. I don't want to spend the 2 hours doing it. I don't, and I feel like there's a lot of people that feel the exact same way that I do. Why are we having to progress these secondary busy work systems on multiple characters? We've already earned the rewards. Why not just let people have the rewards on other characters? And I think one thing that really helped me understand how much of a barrier to entry this really was and how much this limited my enjoyment of playing multiple characters is going and playing not only Final Fantasy, I'm actually wearing a hoodie for it right now, playing Final Fantasy, but also playing Lost Ark. Because both of those systems, both of those games have a number of systems that are shared across your characters, and through being shared across your characters and having some sort of synergy between your characters that they can, you know, build up one character, or you can progress relatively the same content on one character, it makes it a lot easier for you to switch around and to play different things. And why is being able to switch things around and play different things important? I think the reason why is something that I learned whenever I was going through my screenshots in Burning Crusade. I went through the ones in Wrath, and I'm going through some of the ones now in Cataclysm, because I'll be doing that video again sometime soon. Or not again, I'll be doing the Asmongold, True Story of Asmongold, I think is what the editors call it. True Story of Asmongold, Cataclysm Edition. I'm going to eventually do that soon too. And whenever I go through these pictures, what I really see a lot of is I see a lot of myself playing on characters that aren't my warrior. I see myself playing on my mage. I see myself playing on, you know, formerly Crack Monkey and now Wild Animal, my warlock. I see myself playing as Zack the Paladin. I see myself playing Barbecue Beard. And I see myself playing all these different characters. And I ask myself, and I think back at what was my feelings around the game at that time. And I had kind of gotten bored with playing my warrior. I had done everything that I had wanted to do on my warrior. And I saw shamans, you know, this is in patch, I think, 4.3, where Blizzard removed the cooldown from Chain Lightning. And guess what I started playing? I started playing my shaman because it was fucking awesome. I loved it. I had so much fun. So I immediately moved over and I started playing him for a while because of this new thing. And that wouldn't have really been possible if I had all these other barriers to entry, such as tower knowledge, artifact power, Azerite power, and all of these secondary in-game systems that I have to progress, because I would feel like, well, I don't really want to do this because I'm going to have to work on all of these secondary systems again. And I think that, again, is the key word here, is that I don't find a problem with the systems fundamentally, in some regards. Sometimes I'm not a big fan, but just in general, I don't have a problem doing it once. I think it's whenever I have to do it twice. And I don't know about you guys, I'd be curious to hear what people think in the comments, but I feel like there are people who say, whenever I make this argument, that, well, the Blizzard doesn't do this because it would remove or it would lower engagement metrics, and we all know how much Blizzard loves engagement metrics. You're right that Blizzard loves engagement metrics, which is why I think that they should do it. In my opinion, I see a lot of people who just decide to opt to stop playing the game whenever alts were a way to extend the freshness of patches, because now you're playing the game through different eyes. It's kind of like you play Dark Souls once and you play with like a melee character, and then you go and you play it again with a caster instead, or you play it with like a heavy armor, you know, Havel two-handed greatsword guy. Like, imagine who would do that. So and all of these different builds and all of these different play styles have a completely different game experience, where some challenges are easier and conversely some challenges are harder. And I think this is usually what people have in WoW, is that they see some things that, you know, other classes can do. They think they're really cool, and they're like, man, I wish I could do that. But then whenever they look at the amount of secondary systems and resources and work that they have to do to get to that level, that doesn't just involve doing the content that they want to do, then I think they end up opting to not even try. So it's kind of like, for example, if you put you know, a novice, an amateur climber in front of Mount Everest, or, you know, Mount Kilimanjaro, this gigantic fucking mountain, one of the greatest mountains, biggest mountains of all time. People die on this mountain trying to climb to the top of it. And you say, all right, man, here you go. There's going to be a lot of people that don't even take the first step. And I feel like there's a lot of people that get into WoW and they finish their main character and they look at doing their second character just like a first-time climber would look at climbing up Mount Everest. Because in my opinion, I think it's just, it's boring. It's not fun. I think that's also a fundamental thing about it. And this is also, like, to some degree a personal opinion of mine, that it's not fun. But I feel like farming renown on alts, I feel like that subjective opinion is pretty objective. And I know that Ian and Ian said one time that some players like doing renown on alts, etc. Yes, Ian, I'm sure there's dozens of them, but if you accurately knew how to gauge and read the analytics of the game, it wouldn't be dying. So it's apparently if they knew how to read and they actually understood what players wanted, they wouldn't be losing players during COVID. So it's clear that their insight into this is not some sort of, they don't have more information than we do and they can act on it, because apparently they do have more information, and worse than not acting on it is they're acting on it wrongly. So what I think this is doing is it just demoralizes and demotivates players from even taking the first step of playing an alt character. I think that's really what I'm trying to say here, is that whenever somebody sees that they have to progress through a bunch of extra systems and they have all these barriers, because like imagine like this is you with your character that you just started at max level and this is the raid. Well, in Wrath of the Lich King, there's not a whole lot of barriers here. It's just you get your character to 80, you get your gear, and you do the raid. That's about it. Now you've got to worry about your Covenant, your Renown, your Soulbinds, your Conduits, your, your Legendaries. You've got to also worry about your Torghast. Like, you have to worry about all of these different things, and these all create barriers to entry that players have whenever they want to approach content on a different class. And I don't care if you can get to Renown 40 instantaneously. You should be able to get to Renown 80 instantaneously. I find no value in having somebody repeat grinding. Like, for example, if you have Night Fae Covenant at level 80 on your main, you should be able to just get Night Fae level 80 on your alt. That's it. Like, I don't think it needs to be any more complicated than that. I don't think that players should have to compromise with Blizzard as in, oh, well, we're going to accept some degree of wasting our time, but not all of it. No, we just shouldn't accept it at all. Why? Why even spend a second of your time trying to negotiate something that you're playing to have fun? You're negotiating your own fun. And again, I'd be really curious to hear what people's opinions are of this in the comments, because I go back and I play Burning Crusade, I play Classic WoW, etc. And leveling was a huge barrier to entry, but I think leveling was actually part of the content that people liked playing the characters for. Like, I loved, like multi-dotting, like a bunch of different mobs and on my Warlock and killing all of them while leveling. It made me feel like really cool. And on my Paladin, I felt the same way whenever I would group up everything and like a prop Paladin and like Consecration, AoE it all down. It was super fun. So leveling to a certain degree was like more of the content then, but whenever you actually reached max level, there were very few barriers to entry that you had to do outside of a handful of maybe attunements that got removed later on in the expansion, which by the time that you were probably playing an alt, you were probably doing the content that was no attunement rather than content with attunement, like Karazhan during Black Temple, or like SSC during Tier 6 or something like that, or Sunwell or something like that, right? So I go back and I look at these experiences that I had, and I see all my friends that are playing on alts and all the fun that they've been having. And again, I feel like alts are a way to freshen an experience and to extend the length and the life cycle of content. And I feel like what's happened is that the amount of systems and again barriers to entry that this system has had and the game has had nowadays, it makes it so daunting for a player to actually want to play another character that I think they opt to just not play at all. I think that's really what happens, is that they get bored of their main character. It's too hard to play their alt on a level that they feel like they're not playing at a disadvantage, and so they stop playing the game. And again, I want to say that there are people that say, well, you should have to earn things on your alt. You want to have people gives you stuff for free, which, to be fair, to a certain degree is true. That's actually what I want. Yes, I want Blizzard to give me the stuff that I earned on my main on my alt. It's not that I don't want to earn things, it's that I don't want to have to earn them twice. And I hope that Blizzard can really fix this, because I think this is going to be a problem in patch 9.2, and it's going to be a problem in whichever expansion they decide to do, before they realize that players want to play multiple characters. I think in many regards, I think most people, from what I know and people that I talk to and just people that I see in game, many people play alts, hardcore players and casual players all the like. And having these ways that it makes it harder to do that, I don't think helps anybody. I don't think it helps engagement metrics at all. because instead of having a huge engagement metric from someone from having them do this whole system twice, I think you just have an engagement metric once and then nothing because they stop playing or they don't even try in the first place. So I hope Blizzard can really make a lot more of these systems and make these different problems more account-wide, and not make the problems account-wide, solve these problems with making them account-wide. I think that's a better way to say it. So I'd really like to see this happen in 9.2, 9.25, and especially in the next expansion, because I find it very fatiguing to play only one character and feel trapped on that character because I've invested so much time into it. And is this a sunk cost fallacy? No, it's not, because it's not a fallacy. I literally sunk that time, and if I move over, I will have to do it all over again. And I don't want to do that. And I don't think many other people do either. And I think that for many regards, that's why they quit. I'll leave it with this very, very simple question. How many of you guys would have loved playing an alt if you could play an alt in patch 8.3 at the end of BFA with full corruptions? I certainly would have played a lot of characters. And because of how annoying and how frustrating and unfun it was to farm, I didn't do a single one. And it resulted in me playing the game less. And I think there's a lot of people that feel the exact same way. So anyway, I hope Blizzard wakes the fuck up. I hope that they are able to innovate the game, make it more account-wide. And again, I'm not really willing to settle for there's a pseudo account-wide or doing it on your second character is faster. No. It should just be account-wide, full stop. Full stop account-wide, no barriers to entry, nothing. Just completely account-wide, and I think that would make the game better for so many people so fast. That's about all I've got. Thanks a lot for watching. I'd like to know your opinions in the comments and how people feel about this, if I'm the only one. I don't think I am, as I said, but I'd like to hear what people have to say. So yeah, thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you later. Peace.